Welcome back to the AskAPop. Today we're talking about commencing commencements. Wow. Just wow. At my age, and no comments from the peanut gallery, you'd think that going to a graduation would start to become more of old hat, something that you do more out of duty rather than actually wanting to go. But not for this guy. Because you see, every time I start to see that pomp and circumstance or hear the da 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 da, I sit down and I look at all the folks that have earned these well-earned degrees, and I start to think about the time and the effort and the teamwork that it took for those degrees to be earned. And I sit there and, I just look at them with awe and wonder, and look at them with the respect that they earned. This time around, though, as I'm sitting there and listening to the words, and the phrases like starting out and finishing chapters be bandied about, the Spirit kind of hit me. And it took me in a different direction simply because, for the first time, I sat there and looked at all these beautiful, smart kids. And yes, I think of them as kids, even though I know that they're in their early 20s and some of them much older. I look at them and I think, what if all of these kids, or even half of them, or a third of them, were to use these wonderful gifts and talents for Him? What a day that would be. And then I stopped and thought about during, the milestones that I had growing up and, throughout my life. If the promises that I made on those days, if one of them would have been to use the gifts that I had honed in the preceding months and years to give to the Lord. Anyway, the reason that we were attending that specific graduation was for our cousin Amber. And you see, she proudly proclaimed on her graduation cap that I did my best, God did the rest. That pretty much sums up how everybody should always feel. But only Amber had the strength and the sense to proclaim it. This is just some thoughts from a guy that was so proud of his cousin that he couldn't even stand it, and I don't have all the words to say. Anyway, the Bible verses today are Isaiah 6 through 13, and 1 Corinthians 12, 1 through 27.